All right, today we're going to trace the footsteps of a really remarkable spiritual figure, Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita. His story, it's not just about one man. It's about how a legacy is built through devotion, through travel, and through a kind of lineage that goes way beyond bloodlines. So let's dive into his journey.
You know this quote from the Chaitanya Bhagavata? It just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? To say Lord Nityananda was always present in his heart, that's not just poetry. It's a statement of this incredibly deep, profound spiritual connection. And honestly, that connection is the key to understanding everything else about him.
So, keeping that profound spiritual connection in mind, let's try to build a clearer picture. Beyond this powerful quote, who exactly was Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita?
Okay, so you can see he's understood on multiple spiritual levels. He wasn't just a follower. He was an intimate servant of Lord Nityananda. He was also considered one of the 12 Gopalas. Now, this is a title that identifies him as a reincarnation of one of Lord Krishna's original cowherd friends from millennia ago. Even his former name, Vasudama, points back to this ancient identity. So we're talking about a legacy that's seen as stretching back through eternity. Pretty incredible.
But this deep spiritual identity, it wasn't something that just stayed in one place. It was expressed through a life of almost constant movement and pilgrimage. Really, the best way to tell his story is to just follow his footsteps.
So his journey is believed to have started in the village of Jhargram. And that little phrase, according to some opinions, is actually really important. It tells us that we're piecing this story together from a mix of historical records and devoted memory, which, is a fascinating process in itself.
From his birthplace, he moves to the absolute heart of the spiritual revolution of his time, Navadvīpa. This place was the epicenter of the whole movement led by Śrī Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, and it's here that Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita becomes a really key player.
And once he was in Navadvīpa, he was completely immersed. He jumped right into the Saṅkīrtana pastimes, these vibrant public gatherings of chanting and devotion that were the hallmark of the movement. But what's really crucial here is that he wasn't just taking part. He was a missionary, acting on direct orders from Lord Chaitanya to travel and spread the teachings far and wide.
But Navadvīpa was just one stop on a much, much longer journey. His mission took him to several other really significant places, and each one adds another layer to his incredible story. He journeyed all the way to Vrindavana, the sacred land of Krishna's own pastimes. He also lived for a while in a village called Sankra. And get this is what shows you his impact. The village actually became known as Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita, which literally means the place of Dhanañjaya. His very presence made the land holy. Then, after his travels, he settled for a time in Jalandhrigram, where he established a place of worship.
But all of these travels, all these different stops, they ultimately lead us to one primary location, the place that would become his main seat, the very heart of his legacy, Siddlegram.
Now, to really get why Siddlegram is so important, we need to know this word, Shripāt. It's way more than just a home. A Shripāt is a place of pilgrimage, a spot on the map made holy because a great saint lived there and performed their spiritual activities there. It becomes the center of sacred energy.
And his Sripat at Siddlegram is a real physical place. The sources are so specific that they tell us it's just a 20-minute walk from the Kaikour railway station. This little detail does something so powerful. It grounds this sacred story right here in our physical world. It turns it into a destination you could actually go and visit today.
And at this Sripad, the tradition he started is still going. Deities like Sri Gopinatha and Sri Sri Nitai Gora are still worshipped there today, along with a sacred stone, a Damodara Salagram Sila. This isn't just history we're talking about. It's a living, breathing practice that's been passed down for generations.
But you gotta picture this. This sacred place had the most humble beginnings imaginable. This quote from the great teacher, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, paints such a vivid picture. A simple thatched house with walls made of dirt. That was the original temple. It wasn't built on wealth, it was built on pure devotion.
Yet the story of physical buildings is often one of decay, isn't it? In a really poignant turn, the source notes that for a long time, over 60 years, the temple that was built to house his legacy fell into ruin and was just abandoned. It's a powerful reminder that a legacy's survival often depends on something more than just brick and mortar. And the fact that the physical temple could decay, well, that brings us to the true heart of his legacy, because it was never really about buildings or even about bloodlines. It was about spiritual succession, which is a totally different kind of inheritance.
So, his biological family line was actually pretty straightforward. Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita himself didn't have any children. He had a brother, Śrī Sanjaya, and a nephew, Śrī Ramakanitha. But this family tree, well, it doesn't tell the most important part of the story at all.
And this, right here, is the key to his entire legacy. The priests, the sevakas, who carry on the worship at Sittagram today, they are not his biological relatives. They are the descendants of his disciple. His true inheritance was passed down through teaching, through devotion, a spiritual lineage that proved to be way more enduring than blood or buildings.
So, as we start to wrap this up, we're left with this powerful image of an enduring spirit, someone whose influence is still felt in the very ground he walked on, and in the tradition he so carefully passed on.
He passed from this world on the 8th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Kartik. But this date isn't just some historical footnote. It's an event that is still observed every single year at Sittagram, a testament to a presence that is still deeply, deeply felt.
And so the story of Dhanañjaya Paṇḍita really leaves us with this powerful question about what a legacy even is. How does a profound spiritual impact truly survive? Maybe not in grand monuments that can crumble to dust, but in the memory of a place and in the simple, unbroken continuation of a sacred practice. Something to think about.